Sir Keir Starmer wraps up his Washington visit, but leaves without a decision on Ukraine's request to fire long-range missiles into Russia. The British Prime Minister held crucial talks with President Biden at the White House, focusing on Ukraine's plea to use Storm Shadow missiles in its fight against Russia. Despite intensive discussions, U.S. National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby confirmed that no announcement was made regarding the missiles, although one could come at a later date. Foreign Office sources had already hinted not to expect a decision by the end of Starmer's visit, but it still comes as a disappointment. On Thursday, Russian President Vladimir Putin issued a stark warning, stating that allowing Ukraine to strike Russian territory with Western-made missiles would be seen as NATO engaging in war with Russia. President Biden has been hesitant to supply U.S.-made ATACMS missiles, the American equivalent of Storm Shadow, out of concern for escalating the conflict. However, reports suggest he may be open to approving the use of U.S. intelligence and targeting systems to support Ukraine's use of Storm Shadow missiles, which are jointly produced by Britain, France, and Italy. Earlier in the week, Biden said he was working on Kiev's request for long-range missile capabilities. Kirby clarified that Putin's comments likely did not delay any potential announcement, but for now, there is no change in the U.S. stance on allowing Ukraine to use long-range strike capabilities within Russia. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov emphasized that Russia's red line remains firm, while Russian UN Ambassador Vasily Nebenzia warned that allowing Ukraine to use long-range missiles would bring NATO into direct conflict with a nuclear power. Former U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton expressed confidence that Biden will eventually lift restrictions on Storm Shadow missiles, saying it would be unusual to invite the British Prime Minister to the White House, only to say no. He argued that such a move is essential, though overdue. Pressure is mounting from other prominent figures as well. After a meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in Kyiv, former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson urged the West to allow Ukraine to use long-range missiles to defend against Russian attacks. Similarly, Grant Shapps, former UK Defense Secretary, insisted that Biden and Starmer's meeting must result in Ukraine's ability to strike within Russia if Russian forces continue to attack from those areas. Ben Wallace, another former UK Defense Secretary, argued that long-range missiles would significantly bolster Ukraine's defenses and criticized the delay, stating that it only benefits Russia. He urged the West to act swiftly if they truly want Ukraine to succeed. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky echoed these frustrations in a statement on social media, urging Western allies to speed up their decisions. He expressed gratitude for existing support, but stressed that Ukraine still lacks the necessary long-range capabilities to defend itself against Russian aggression. Putin's warning remains clear. Any move to allow long-range missile strikes would change the nature of the conflict, pushing NATO closer to direct involvement. Meanwhile, in meetings earlier this week, Foreign Secretary David Lammy and U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken announced additional financial support for Ukraine, including £600 million from the UK and $717 million from the US for humanitarian and energy relief. As tensions rise, the world watches closely for what's next in this high-stakes conflict.